Said, before I leave this earth, plastic will no longer be seen as trash. It will only be seen as untapped potential energy.
What's going on, world? It's your boy Juice. I am here with a bright young mind of the future. Thank you for coming through, bro.
Yes, sir, absolutely. I appreciate being here. Yep. My name is Julian Brown, and what I do is I have invented a device that turns plastic waste into fuel. And how that works is it's a process of pyrolysis. So when you take any organic matter,
any type of matter,
organic matter, you put it in a container, heat it up, no oxygen, doesn't burn. A fire needs air, heat, and fuel. We're taking out the air. Instead of it burning, making smoke, flame, it breaks down into a vapor. And that vapor is that fuel, the basic components, because everything has energy within it. We're extracting the energy out of it through heat. Now, I've been doing this in my backyard for the past 3 years.
Hold on. We're not going to go that deep yet. You see what I'm saying? I want to take it before. So you're saying you're taking plastic and utilizing it to create gas.
Yeah.
So one part you're actually recycling.
Right.
And one part you're actually refining materials and then turning them into energy. You know, energy equals bag, right?
Yeah, of course.
We'll keep going. I just, before, you know, as a father, I just want to understand your upbringing. Because, you know, having daughters that are kind of innovative and ingenuitive, I just want to know your upbringing of what steers you towards, you know, tapping into the microwave aspect.
Sure. So most of my life when I was younger, around middle school time, I was in karate. Now, being in karate, I got my black belt. Something I noticed was when I started my karate class, my class was like 20 people when I started. By the time I was up there to get my black belt test, I was the only one left. Everybody else had dropped out before that. It never even got up to that point. And that showed me something that taught me diligence, perseverance.
At what age?
Keep going. I was 13. 13. So that's a principle I learned in life early that you apply to every single thing else from then.
That's hard.
That was my foundation when it came to myself, my own character, never giving up. That's not an option.
No, you're right.
And then I tapped into things like really observing nature, gardening, you know? With that type of thing, now you start to realize the patterns. There's a lot of patterns that apply to the whole universe, the whole world.
Right.
That gave me that foundation on, okay, energy can't be destroyed nor created. Apply that to plastic. Huge issue all over in the oceans. They're like, what can we do with it?
Right.
It's energy, just like nature. Can't be created nor destroyed. It just can be transformed into different things. How do you do it? You got to have diligence and perseverance and never give up and figure out a way to do it.
Right.
See those two things come together.
Right. That makes me think. It's like, you just, I mean, off the camera, you told me you started this process, what, 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
So what was the niche that kind of propelled you to want to just jump into, you know, the plastic aspect?
So this technology has been around for a while. The technology of turning like organic matter into fuel, been around. It came down to, I saw an article in 2020 talking about 3.4 billion masks in the ocean. And those masks, most of them made of plastic, and it just had me thinking like, that's wild. That much plastic already, because the mask that just started being used. Right. 3.4 billion, and the coral reefs.
From COVID and all of that.
They found them in like the Mariana Trench and stuff, so deep, and it's like, clearly there's an issue. There's no value to plastic once it's done being used. We don't care, we want to get rid of it. Right. But I knew plastic is made of petroleum, crude oil. Going back to the energy thing, energy can't be destroyed nor created. So I'm like, well, that's untapped potential energy right there.
And think about how much waste United States has.
Exactly.
You really have an untapped resource, you know what I mean, at your disposal. Like,
you know, we talk about there's all these oil pockets in the earth. Oh, we're running out of the oil. Our oil reserves are our landfills. That's all that oil just right there, just sitting there dormant, vacant, waiting for us to tap in. So when I saw the masks in the ocean, it made me think, why aren't we recycling masks? Why? Because they're contaminated. They have diseases, viruses, dirt, whatever on them. Now that they're in the ocean, now they have salt water, algae. We can't turn that into another mask.
You're right.
Not safely. So there has to be a way to recycle plastic other than just turning it back into plastic. Going back to the roots of everything. Everything is energy. How can we bring it back to its basic building blocks? And that's how I found the process of pyrolysis. Looking up, just burn it, right? I mean, what else can you do with something with diseases on it and stuff? You have to burn it. Heat is the ultimate thing which returns everything to its original state, its original building components. So like, well, how can we burn plastic that makes toxins, right? When you burn, we all know about that.
Right.
How can you burn it without burning it? Without having all those toxins? There has to be a way, and there is a way. And that way is called pyrolysis, which is when you heat something up in the absence of oxygen.
Is that what brings you into Mach 1?
That's what brought me into Mark 1. Exactly, because my Mark 1 reactor was very simple, very crude. It was just a metal box I welded together, a metal little container, and I just heated it up from the outside with a propane flame, put plastic in there, had it completely closed off, and made the fuel out of it. Simple.
You say simple, but that sounds like something Iron Man did in the first, you know, the first movie where he's like building his own Stark reactor or whatever. But I mean, I don't want to go through the process because I know you have all of that sauce on your like website and all of that. I want to tap into a deeper aspect. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What makes Julian Brown? Like what makes you, like, we were talking about the spirituality aspect and all of that. When did you really tap into that?
That was really in high school. Now, I've always, my whole life, been an old soul, you could say. You know, really always been more on a wiser mindset of things. Like, I'm not really the type to be out here partying all the time and all this stuff. I always saw I need to do things that are adding value to myself, that are building me as a person. I always knew that I was on a mission on this earth to change the world. I remember telling my mom at 6 years old, I'm gonna change the world.
At 6? At 6,
and she was shocked. Still to this day, she says that story to me because she was like, how do you even know what that means, right? I always been on that. That's just always been within me. It was just a matter of I need the right thing, the right avenue to apply that fire to. Right? That's what it's been. So when it comes to the spiritual aspect of things, it really comes down to just having an innate and unmovable faith in myself. Because no matter what happens around me, I always know that it's always going to work out and I'm always going to get where I need to go because that's why I'm here.
Predestination.
Predestination, exactly. It's just a reroute on the GPS.
Nah, it's amazing. And you don't focus not necessarily on the directions, you're focusing on where you're going.
Always.
You see what I'm saying? And that makes amazing inventor space. So like when I came across you, I seen like a young Elon, you know what I mean? Like a black, hip, swagged out young Elon in the making that's not only treading a new path as far as like innovation, but utilizing that innovation and giving it away for, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like to the world. Like you're not coveting this and trying to, you know, get your gasoline popping before you give it to, now you're actually bringing this to the world. And I think as a creator, that pooled market and that, I guess you could say that blockchain of creativity is what keeps you see what I'm saying, on your toes. Yeah, that just comes down to trial and error, experimenting. You know, like I said before, this technology is not new. It's been out there for a while. I have a patent pending on my design, but to get to that point of that design, it was just trial and error, just truly being passionate about it, going out there every day, working almost relentlessly on it. Because I knew that this had to change the world. I had to make it more efficient. I didn't make it an option to be like, maybe this isn't it. Maybe it's something else. Right. No, that was not even an option. It was always, this is going to be it because I'm going to pimp it until it works that way. Talk about and that's exactly how it unfolded. You know, when I first started with the Mark 1, it was really simple, very inefficient. And I was like, I opened my mind up to the question of not, oh, this is not going to work, but how can I make it work? How can I make it work? How? That's that question in your mind. And then all of a sudden things started to open up. I started to think, okay, what's more efficient than heating with a propane burner, the traditional way of doing things? Right. Electricity. Thought about like an oven. That's inefficient. That's a large space. Right. Heating elements. What's even more efficient than an oven? A microwave. A microwave heats from the inside out. You put a hot pocket in there versus the oven. What's cooking quicker every time? So you're thinking more or less, I know how to do this. Now it's about capturing and making it the most efficient way.
Right.
So, and that sounds like rocket science just to me. So I'm surprised I even can understand what you're talking about.
I'll break it down for you.
Go ahead, break it down.
Traditional reactors use flames to heat them, whether that's natural gas, propane, whatever. The heat has to go from the flame to the reactor, from the reactor, which is metal, to the plastic. That's a three-way heat transfer.
Three-way.
There will be lost heat between the airspace, between the metal conducting into the plastic, and the metal will always be hotter than the plastic.
So that means right there at that moment, you've used 3 processes which contain a lot more energy to do and get the process done.
Right, because the reason why, despite this technology being so old, it hasn't been applied yet is because of efficiency, things like that. They're like, well, that works, that's cool, but it takes so much energy to get the energy out of the plastic. It's not worth doing. It's better to just throw it in a landfill.
But isn't it like once you heat the plastic, it actually gives you more energy?
Exactly, because with plastic being made of petroleum and crude oil, it is so energy dense that when you use something that's very efficient, like microwaves, when it starts to heat up like that, it really starts to almost self-sustain itself with the heat from the inside out, and it releases so much energy products that you can actually use the energy products it creates in the moment to run the machine.
So it's a cycle.
It's a closed cycle. Just like nature. The leaves that fall off the trees in the forest stay in the forest, go back to the ground,
decompose,
feed the roots.
feed the
The
roots.
energy, it's not the leaf, it's the energy. It's not the plastic, it's the energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You just man, this guy, bro, you onto something. You know you're onto something, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now let's go back into that Elon space. Jet fuel, carbon emissions. You know, Apple trying to be a zero, emissions company in the future. What does that mean to you? Let's tap into your brain.
I believe that this process is necessary for anything to truly be zero waste and to reduce their emissions as well, because we can think about production all we want, but there will always be waste. A huge issue that Apple has to tackle is all the iPhone waste. They come up with an iPhone every year. Well, of course, phones have a lot of metal on them, but guess what? They also have a lot of in there, plastic. We don't know what to do with those circuit boards and stuff. Well, now this is an option. You can put the whole phone in the reactor, and it's going to turn every organic matter in that phone into fuel, and it's going to leave you with all the inorganic metals and glasses, things that can be recycled and put back into the market.
So it's not just gasoline; it's other precious energies and metals that could be utilized and reproduced to maximize your profit.
Absolutely, because any inorganic material that's maybe coated in plastic, like circuit boards have gold in them, for example, coated in plastic. When you put it in the reactor, it burns away all the plastic. It turns all that plastic into fuel and just leaves just that gold, just that whatever. So now you're getting fuel out, and then you're getting all those uncovered, untapped metals and things that are useful out of it as well.
So this is probably something no one asks you. How do you want to utilize those other materials? Have you thought about maybe packaging them up yourself, or, creating your own micro company that has some type of resources?
Yeah, I mean, to start, it could be as simple as just selling to a scrapyard, bring in extra revenue, extra profit, because metals are always valuable. Copper, steel, all of it, especially when you're getting it from trash, right? But beyond that, it could also be a thing where now it could go hand in hand. We make natural gas from the plastic. Natural gas could then run a heater to then melt the metal down, and now we're making our own metal right there too, running off of, waste. So the applications are really just, there's no limit. It just comes down to what do you want to do? How far do you want to take it? But you can have a completely closed ecosystem of just taking in trash, making products out the other end.
And I think there's a company doing that. So I think they're like the only company in the United States doing that. Like they have a huge facility. It's like in Indiana or something like that. But they're doing that. But I think like you are utilizing the compact aspect and finding a way to take different tools and utilize it for somebody that doesn't have the big factory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like you're for the regular person that maybe has somebody that has their own ecosystem or a group farm or something. They might want to utilize that technology to I guess you could say, make more energy and make more products.
Absolutely.
And more
Just think about
stuff.
it. You know, I did this in my backyard. If I did it in my backyard, that
Hold on. In your backyard?
In my backyard.
Are your parents all right with that?
No.
So we need to get you a research facility in the islands.
Absolutely. Well, maybe not in the islands, but but for sure.
In rural, no, and actually you're needed in the metro cities where the trash is the most, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I went to New York last year for the first time. Something I noticed was on almost every block, just piles of trash, and most of it was plastic. And all I was thinking, everybody's thinking like, man, get rid of this trash. But all I was thinking is, how much energy are you throwing away? How much gasoline are you throwing away, you know?
Dang, that's a whole new way to think of.
It's a whole new way of thinking. It's changing, it's altering our mindset of humanity. There won't be any such thing as litter. Before I leave this earth, plastic will not be seen as trash anymore. It will only be seen as untapped potential energy.
Oh, hold on. We got to keep you safe, man.
Absolutely.
Say that again.
So before I leave this earth, plastic will no longer be seen as trash. It will only be seen as untapped potential energy.
Are you aware of manifestation?
Absolutely.
Do you know what you just manifested?
I manifested the inevitability of this technology.
I think with this being Black History Month, you're actually creating history. That's why I gave you that book off camera, that Black Inventors. You know what I mean? Because a lot of young minds don't do what you're doing, and you're like a beacon. So when I bring it back to that first question of your upbringing, like you're a reflection of your parents. You know what I mean? You said both your parents are in the household. You see what I'm saying? You grew up in where? Like where are you from?
I'm from Tennessee.
Tennessee. So you're a country boy. Nature, country boy, like you tapped into the roots. You see what I'm saying? You said by 13 you were talking about, you know, the understanding of, you know, determination and sticking to things and tapping into nature. I think you've been well versed and well crafted as a young and an individual to even tackle these nature issues and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just that.
Yeah, because from the beginning, before I did anything, I always was an environmentalist. I always saw it as nature's a gift, and there's always a way to do things respectfully. You know, like you hear, you know, stories of companies dumping toxic chemicals in rivers and stuff, and I always think, well, yeah, that's a way to do it. Sure, you can dump these chemicals, but there's also a respectful way to dispose of things, right? So I always was in that mindset of solution-oriented. And speaking of my parents, I got to give them the props too, because, you know, they have planted those seeds in me as well, you know, always thinking of solution. My mom would always say, if there's a problem, there's a solution. So it's like an inevitability. It's a duality. There's a contrast. It's not a matter of, can it be done? It's how can it be done?
How can it be done?
Right? And, you know, my parents are
the can is the direction. The how is the destination.
Exactly. Exactly. And when you just align those two, you know where you're going. You know, my mom is who inspired me to get into karate. My mom is who inspired me to get into welding. Those are two things. She always knew I was here to change the earth for the better. She always knew that. She believed in me. And then she also told me how important it was to believe in myself. Right. And that's one of the most valuable things you can have, because you don't know what's going to go on around you. But as long as you're always, your foundation is within your, things that are like there. It's almost like a totem. It's like a very strong grounding thing. My two strongest grounding things are my belief in myself and my love for nature. Those are things that are not going anywhere.
The foundation.
Yeah. And that's what it is.
Self and nature.
Because when you're doing anything.
A natural self.
Yeah. NatureJab.
NatureJab. So when you say NatureJab, is that you throwing a punch at nature, or is that you punching for nature?
You can look at it that way. Jab are my initials.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Julian Alexander Brown. But also, when I was in karate, I was known as Jab, you know, because you're fighting my initials, so people just call me Jab. So behind an inventor, you're a black belt, like, see me if you want to see me, I'll take you out type guy. Yeah, absolutely. Do you fight on camera, off camera? I fight off camera. It's, you know, I just spar. I actually never been in a fight in my life, actually. What? Because, you know, one thing we learned in karate is You will always win the fights you never get in.
Period.
You know, that's the easiest way to win a fight. Just don't get in one. You know, you pick your fights. For me, there's no such thing as a fight. It's always life or death. You know, a life or death situation. And if I'm in an altercation with somebody, that's how I'm seeing things. So I don't fight over petty things. You know,
That's a fact.
You know, even things like, oh, you took my shoes. Well, that may get me upset, but that may not be something to take somebody's life for. Because that's how I see things. You know, it's just how it is when it comes to, you know, when you do these things. With karate and stuff. So with the NatureJab part, it has many different meanings. Of course, it's like my name right next to nature, because I'm like a warrior for nature, but also jab, like I'm a fighter. I'm fighting for nature. I'm fighting for humanity.
Double entendre.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess you could say. Do you listen to hip hop, or are you into, you know, what type of music do you
I'm
listen to?
very specific with my music because I'm all about speaking life. I listen to every genre there is, but every song I listen to, I know the lyrics. And I make sure the lyrics are things that I want to be, things I want to embody.
Talk about it.
And that's something I've always been on my whole life. I never listen to music that's saying things that I don't want to be. You know, if I'm in a sad state, I might listen to a song that is maybe reflecting on sad things. But I'm not going to listen to a song that's saying I am depressed, I am sad, because I don't want to sing along. I don't want to embody that. I don't want to be depressed. I'm here to get out of that. I'm here to elevate myself.
So you understand the frequencies and, you know, what they do to your
the power
body
of words.
and the power of words and stuff like that.
For sure.
That's super dope, man. That's super dope.
Yeah.
Getting something from the producer. Hey, man. We'll be back. Now I want to talk to, you know, more about nature, and we'll bring up a specific person, Nikola Tesla.
My boy.
That's your boy?
It's my boy.
You know him?
Oh yeah.
All right, let's talk about him.
Absolutely. Nikola Tesla was one of my inspirations going into this field. Something I love about him, he was an amazing inventor, of course. You know, AC electricity and all that. But what I loved about him the most is he was for humanity. He had several patents. He made open source. Why? He said, because this is not for the profit of me. This is for the profit of humanity. He's a humanitarian. He was real. I respect that about him because that's how I see it too. You know, when you are doing things that are changing the world, you can be succumbed by greed because we will always have that option available, right? But you have to understand that you have to pick the side of righteousness, the side of what you're bestowed for. You know, because you're not bestowed for your own gain, you're bestowed for our gain. We're all a forest. And Nikola Tesla, speaking of that, was very in tune to the natural principles of all the universe. You know, he had a quote, you know, if you want to learn the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Going back down to the basic roots and foundations of everything. And remember, that's exactly what I was saying before. Basic roots and foundations of plastic is energy. It's
energy.
Everything's energy. So he's a real one. And, you know, something I did learn from him was he got exploited a lot. Because he was very nice. He had a really big heart, and people, rich, greedy people, took advantage of that. And something that I almost feel like, for his sake, because I know that I'm channeling his energy for his sake. I want to not make the mistakes he did. I want to be for humanity, be nice, but also be, you know, assertive in the sense of I'm not just going to let somebody just take advantage of me, because at the end of the day, this is for humanity. And if it's in the wrong hands, it could just be turned to a giant profit greed thing like everything else has.
Like so many things do. So what's some things that you do to kind of steer you away from that path?
It's all about discernment. I can feel somebody. You know, I've had people approach me asking for whatever, they'll help for whatever. When the energy is off and I feel it, you know, they try to push you because they can tell that you're not really feeling it. They try to push you into it. I just step away. I have a board of people I talk to. My family, my friends, my close people. I always run things by them before I make a decision. I'm always asking somebody, because when I'm in a state of making a decision, it can be exaggerated. I could be influenced. So I always ask people. And that's a huge part. And when people are if I feel something off, right? And everybody around me is telling me that's off and I don't listen, I'm being a fool. Maybe, now, it doesn't always apply, because let's say I feel right. But everybody around me is like, don't do it. I'm going to do it anyway. Everybody around me was telling me, don't build the reactor. You're going to blow yourself up.
But
it felt right. And but if I feel off and I'm just like, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, and everybody's telling me no, then that's a sign to me, don't do it. Right? And when I feel this way about people, usually I run it by my people. They're always telling me something's off. Don't do it. So I don't do it. That's the key.
So you have you're young, but you have a board of directors, I can see. It might be the family, it might be some people that you tapped into, but you have a corporate structure and you have a corporation in the development stages I see coming along. You know what I mean? Yeah. As much as you tap into the natural aspect and the resource, a key way to steer away from being utilized and exploited is to master the energy of business.
For sure. And that's something that I've really had to take these last couple months to do, because started off as just an inventor, just somebody building stuff.
Facts.
And I always saw it as, well, I'm just going to be appreciated for that, just that alone. But then when I really started to get traction on social media, I've really started to tap into this business space and just notice, like, this is a whole other field. This is a field I've been lacking.
Whoa.
You know?
To think that you have the ability to bring economic change to countries and economies and hemispheres with utilizing your technology. I mean, what you said has been out, but the way that you've compacted it and the way that you're steering it's more or less an idea. You get what I'm saying? The reactor and what you're creating is one thing, but the idea and what you stand for is huge. And that is a brand. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And ideas are bulletproof.
So when you think of Tesla, he was exploited. What's one of the biggest companies right now?
Tesla.
So that brings us to Elon Musk. How do you feel about Elon Musk?
No, I feel Elon Musk is in a place where he's making a lot of influence and change. You know, what he does is with the media, a lot of it. And I'm learning from that, because I even got this opportunity by social media pushing and all that. You know, Tesla stock and stuff is based a lot on public appeal. Very important. And so when you're doing anything that's going to change the world, you need the world behind you. You know, so you have naysayers, you have whatever, but no matter what you want to say, Tesla does have pretty much majority people just behind them. Like, majority of people are like, oh yeah, that's a Tesla, that's cool. Oh yeah, I drive a Tesla, you know, or at least majority people in power, people that are allowing these big things to happen. So I see that's very important. Something I noticed about what I'm doing is it's very unifying. You know, when in my comments, when I'm live streaming, I'm talking to Republicans, I'm talking to Democrats, I'm talking to black people, white people, I'm talking to everybody, because everybody can back behind not only getting rid of waste, but then we're turning it into something useful. We're giving people power again. Everybody can back that. Everybody can back energy liberation. And that's very important to me, because we're divided in so many ways. It's just a human race. That things like this that unify us, we all get behind this, we all agree. It's beautiful.
It is. I think that's kind of what Tesla markets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The sustainability, the electric, cars, and going to space and all of this different innovative new type of thing. I think that's what drives the stock. Yes, the public opinion may drive what it is, but it's dependent on what they're doing.
The foundation.
The foundation. Yeah. So when we go to Tesla and, the exploitation, and then we go to Tesla now being one of the biggest companies, how do you think he's tackled that aspect? Or do you think it's been more exploitation?
It really comes down to who he is as a person, and his story, his foundation on things.
We're Team Tesla. Bring the Tesla bag all day. But I'm just getting it, we're just tapping into your brain. But go ahead.
Yeah. It really comes down to his story, his foundation, his background. As I was telling you how important it was for me to have all those spiritual and character seeds within me, just being a good person at the end of the day. That's really the question you have to ask for and apply to anybody, especially in a really powerful place. Elon Musk, very powerful, richest man in the world at earlier this year or whatever, right? So when you see somebody in such a powerful position, you always have to ask yourself, how did they get there? What did they do to get there? Was it through righteous deeds or was it through exploitation, right? And at the end of the day, that just comes down to somebody's character. I have a character where I'm never selling out. Never. It's not even an option. I'm never quitting. It's not an option. I'm always here for humanity. It's not an option to pick greed over humanity. It's just those types of things. And I can't really speak on his behalf because I don't know him. I haven't met him yet.
No, but just from what you're saying, I mean, I respect that. But what do you feel like is your next? Because you did the Mach 1 to the 4. Yep. Now 5.
Mark 5.
Mark 5. Are we? And this is kind of like, this is Wakanda level to my mindset. What are you doing with 5 to? I guess you can say, take it to the next notch.
Mark 5 is going to be the first ever professionally built machine. All parts, industrial level. I'll say it like this. From Mark 1 to Mark 4, everything was done by me by hand. All the things cut by hand. Didn't even have a CNC machine, a little rod to cut out the squares for me. I had to cut out the squares. It'll piss me off because sometimes they come out like a rhombus and stuff. Right. I would take parts out of microwaves from scrap yards to put them in my machine. I built my 4th machine out of propane tanks. I cut 2 in half, put them together. What? So everything has been resourceful. Everything has been kind of racketeering it all together, right? But with this next machine, the Mark 5 is going to be the first one where everything is designed for this. Because when you do things like that, kind of build it out of recycled scrap parts, it's limited.
Right.
It can only be so good. It can only be as good as the worst part.
Right.
But now I'm going to get these things where every single part was designed for this. Best it can be.
Can you talk about that process of manifestation from going from the backyard Mach 1 to Mach 5? Like, I know, you probably had to do a lot of, tedious work and all of that, but talk about the manifestation and the vision behind it.
It's all about the vision. I knew what Mark 5 looked like before I even built Mark 4. The vision is so far ahead. The vision is also so clear. When I was, the jump from Mark 2 to Mark 4 was huge. What happened was Mark 2 was just a regular container, cylinder, there's a little container, microwaves went in there, heat up the plastic. There were some issues with that. Plastic and microwaves don't really mix together that well by nature. And what's in your microwave oven? A turntable. There was no such thing as that in my Mark II design, so the plastic would just sit there. And it wouldn't even
getting the full.
So when I went to Mark III, I introduced these blades inside, like a screw that agitates the plastic around. I also made the design, I went from it being a vertical, almost like a trash can, flipped it horizontal. Now Mark III blew up.
Blew up?
Yeah, like a cannon.
In the backyard?
In the backyard.
How do you, is there any safety protocols you use? Do you research your safety or are you just thugging it out?
I do research safety, and the biggest thing with this process is, how we're talking about no air can be in there, no oxygen. If you have oxygen in there, you just made a bomb. Because that's what you need. You need fuel and air to make an explosion, just like how engines work. So in my Mark III design, I had too much oxygen, and it blew up. And I knew that. I knew that was an issue. And so in my next design, I made it out of a lot thicker metal. And I did a lot more protocols to make sure all the air was pushed out. You see, not only when there's air in there, do all those toxins form from the plastic, but then it makes it an explosion risk. So you definitely don't want air in there for either one of those reasons, So it was all a learning experience because Hey, I'd much rather explode in my backyard, small scale, sound like a cannon than sound like a nuclear weapon when I build it in a warehouse. Because now that's a mistake I never made again. I never will, because now I understand.
Talk about a learning curve.
I call it tough love of Mother Nature. Tough love of the universe.
So
tough
you accidentally built a bomb, which brings you into phase 4, which was what, more or less an evaluation type of?
Mark IV was the first ever model which functioned and incorporated the screwing blades and incorporated multiple microwave sources. So microwaves come from magnetrons. They're the device that actually makes them. Up until this point, all my previous models had just one magnetron in it, so one microwave worth of power. My Mark III design had 5 magnetrons, so basically the equivalent of 5 microwaves being on at once, but it blew up. Mark IV had 5 as well. So now we incorporate the blades and a lot more power.
So you're putting all of these machines together to do this.
Yeah, and this is exactly what it was. It was, you know, making an abomination of all.
Do they cost a lot, or is it just the microwave? It's just like a mom and pop microwave?
I was getting scrapyard stuff. I go to the landfill. People throw away tons of microwaves every day. They call me the microwave man because I'll be up in there coming back. The cab of my truck just had microwaves in it and stuff. So that's what it was. I made most of my resources around me, and being a welder, I had access to a lot of metal. So the machine, if you built it, everything new probably would have cost $10,000. I built it for around $3,000-4,000. No.
And it works the same way and the same efficiency as that $10,000.
Yeah, because the $10,000 would just be new parts.
Okay, so I mean, you know, I'm always thinking about money, you know, and I told you we were going to get into a segment where we would, you know, talk about the economic impact of what you're building.
Yeah.
Are you aware of the economic, you know, help that you're bringing to different markets and, you know, different people if needed be?
Absolutely. I'm absolutely aware of the economic impact. Like I said, this ultimately, right, it's energy liberation. But beyond that alone, right, beyond that, think about it like this. Nations now have another source for jobs. They have another source for jobs, and they have another source for money too, because now you're turning your trash into money. Now, if you could have a country, like for example, it's I believe it's Sweden. They have a huge incinerator, right? It's so efficient and so works so well. They ship in other nations' plastic waste and stuff. So think about this: you could have a huge machine.
Hold on. Sweden, which is the bank,
essentially, right?
Essentially, right? The bank. They are using this type of technology.
No, they're using incinerators.
They're using incinerators.
Incinerators are different because they do use oxygen, so that you have to have proper filters so you don't get all the toxins, and you got to have it burn really hot, and you don't get gasoline and stuff out of it. The most you get out of incinerators is heat energy.
All right, hold on. We'll redirect back into the money. That's why we're in this accent. How do you, I mean, you talked about it's about your heart, you know, but with your heart, how do you think about the bag? Because don't you think the bag can kind of help more than the actual, you get what I'm kind of saying?
No, like, I don't see that actually. I mean, of course, money is opportunities, money is resources, but like, that's not my focus. Because if I made that my focus just to get the money, it'd be a matter of I build these machines, get them I would have already had it built. Because I would have just partnered with somebody who wanted like half of my company, who just had it built already. And it's done. I want this for humanity. Of course I'm going to get money. Of course I'm going to be wealthy. I've been wealthy my whole life. I've been a trillionaire my whole life because it's a mindset, a state of being before that. I'm already rich, right? It's just time hasn't caught up. I don't care about that. I not only want to build this, but I want to change the world. I want to do better for humanity. Right? If it was just about money, I would have already had it. I would have already been
tackled that. You're smart enough to go think about how to do that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, come on now. If I'm building a
bomb on accident.
If I'm building a reactor in my backyard at 19, I surely could get the bag if that was my true intention. But I also, it kind of goes into me being an old soul. I realize money is fickle. Money is temporary. It's a tool.
It's a tool.
It's a tool, but you can't let it use you. You use it. And it's going to come along. It's like water. It comes along, it goes. You just have to go with the flow with it.
The energy that you're the energy that you're sustaining and reusing is putting out another type of frequency and energy that will bring currency flow into your system.
Because all money is...
That's crazy.
Oh, look, all money is a manifestation of energy in ways. You know?
So hold on. So plastic is energy, and money is energy.
It's our energy. It's our faith and our belief energy going into. So when I give you a $20 bill, why does it mean something to you? Because you believe that is worth $20. You believe that's worth whatever is worth $20. That's energy. So when you're doing something that taps into energy, like turning plastic into energy, it's inevitable. Of course you're going to make money because that's what money is. It's energy.
Energy. When we were saying, when you create energy, you create wealth.
Exactly. So that, like, for me, I always knew I'm going to be fine financially. I'm going to be secured. I never worry about that.
You're more or less thinking of the destination of the goal of the manifestation, but the minor things like money and big companies and all that stuff isn't your focus.
No, it's not. It's not because, you know, like I said, I know how life works. If that was my focus, I'll get there, then I'll feel demotivated and just sell the company to somebody, and they just run into the ground or something, right?
So hold on, Iron Man, because you are, in my mind, you're the young Iron Man, or if you're not Iron Man, you're Iron Heart. God damn it. We'll give you Iron Heart at least. You watch Marvel?
Yeah.
All right, so Iron Man. We think of him as, he builds a Stark reactor and he's a super genius. Yeah, his father came from wealth and gave him this massive, you know, structure of how to maintain wealth and how to utilize wealth, damn near government contracts, all of that. How do you, because I guess what you could say, you're reverse engineering a lot of the stuff that you've learned, right? How do you reverse engineer that aspect of the Iron Man? Because you're just black from Tennessee, you know?
Observation.
We understand our resources that we have available, right? But someone like an Iron Man, right? I think you have that same goal in a sense, right? The stages and the directions with the money aspect he's been blessed with.
Yeah.
How do you manifest to get to Mach 5?
Yeah, it comes down to observation and being very resourceful. Just like how I used the resources I had to build the reactors to begin with, I'm going to use the resources I have to acquire the finances the right type of way. Not just the money, but the right type of money, because money's energy. There's good energy, there's bad energy. I want the right type of money, and I'm going to get it because I believe in myself and I believe I'll make it, and I believe that I'm learning. That's why I don't have it right now. I always wondered why when I would have videos on TikTok get like 10 million views, me showing me running an engine with this. Why am I not being reached out to by big people? I always wondered that. But then I had to realize this is tough love from Mother Nature. Telling me there's things I need to learn about myself. I need to learn about business myself first. I need to learn the foundation of how to manage money the right way. Because, hey, you could get money and then the SEC comes for you, you're done.
You're done.
You're in the jail, you're in jail, FBI gets on you or something, you're not doing it the right way.
Right.
So there's so many ways to go about it, and this is such a new field for me, but I'm okay with it taking a little bit longer because it's going to last. I'm growing my roots right now, the foundation. That's what it's about.
So when we think about what you're doing, waste management, are you aware of the origins of waste management and the business aspects, the dark, shady part of the mafia side of it, the contracts? Are you aware of stuff like that?
Yeah, because we live in an evil, greedy world, you know. But that's not the only option. You know, that's the easy, quick option. People, you know, hear about the past inventors who kind of been, you know, dealt with for some things they've made, like people who made water engines and things. Those are super disruptive, and they're replacing industries that exist. I'm not replacing anything. I'm adding to industries because we're running out of landfill space. But waste management still wants to run their trucks. Well, now you could just bring that waste into my machine. My machine makes fuel. Now you can run your trucks off of the fuel. You know, oil industry. all these bans are starting, all these taxes, government subsidies, and all this stuff.
Right.
There's a lot of push for all this electrification and everything, right? Because it doesn't
zero carbon emissions.
Zero carbon emissions and stuff. Now these oil companies are freaking out. They're like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna still sell oil if every car is electric? Well, plastic's made from oil. They're ramping up their plastic production, right? Because maybe they may not be able to sell their oil, but they can still sell plastic. Well, now they're going to eventually run into a wall where governments are like, we're banning plastic because we have nothing to do with it, and you're making tons of it. Well, now you don't have to ban plastic. We'll just turn it back into fuel.
Into fuel.
And now we can run our boats or run whatever is still running off of fuel at that time, right? And then people often sometimes will ask me, okay, Jab, what you're doing is great, but what are you going to do when everything is electric? Say 100 years from now, every single thing is electric. I say, well, now we can just use the fuel to run the machine itself. Done.
That makes sense. And you're actually ridding the earth of waste. Plastic gives off poisonous gas anyways. So you're helping the carbon system anyways, even if you're not even thinking of that.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Sometimes people get too focused on the energy side of things.
Right. They're like, oh, how can I get this in my car? Like, I need gas. You probably can make gas, but you can't fuel my car.
Right. And they forget that at the end of the day, we're turning plastic into, well, we're getting rid of plastic in a safe way, in a controlled way.
Right.
And so that's the most important part. This process is so controlled. The machine itself has zero emissions because every single thing that it creates, all the vapors, they're all caught. They're all, because that's energy.
Right.
You know? So the so-called toxic byproducts that you come from burning plastic, right? The byproducts of this machine are the literal fuel products. We get the natural gas, we get the oil, and we get a solid carbon product. And that solid carbon is carbon that would have ended up as CO2. Now we have it in solid form.
That you
now
can
we can bury that. Now we can sell that to farmers as biochar. Now we can sell that to be put in rubber and concrete. It strengthens concrete. You know, now there's so many applications of that product. And when you're sequestering that carbon product, now this process of making plastic into fuel is carbon neutral.
The kid is 19. The kid is, you need to put out your steps and stages of how you, because your mind is, I'm telling you, bro, your mind is on a whole nother level. If they haven't told you before, you need to be protected.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, you prayed up, you got nature, you got the biggest protector indeed. So all of that is going to come. You see how it comes with you know, it comes with it. But I think the next phase in your life, and this is just me coming from a prophetic mindset, bro, is you're going to master the business aspect. The same way, because business is energy too. Business is energy, man. Yeah. And when you learn that piece of and that part of it, that's what's going to, you know, propel that vision and that mindset of what you want to do and what you want to change. Because like, look at the ocean project that they got going on right now, where they're taking all of that stuff. That you need to be directly integrated into that.
My machine's on the ships.
The war, Ukraine war, you know, energy conservation, energy is needed. New machines that could create, that don't need energy to produce energy. That's where you're at.
That's tapping into a whole, this is the next step for humanity. That's what I say. No, this is not just a thing that is just, oh, it's a new cool technology. No, this is something that humanity needs, is necessary, and this is what's going to propel all of civilization to the next step. So we've been running into that issue. We're amazing at producing amazing things, but there's the waste on the other end, and it's just piling up, nothing to do with it. But this is the key, the answer,
the key mechanism
to all of that,
to progress
all of humanity.
Yeah. In a group effort.
Exactly. And that's what I love about this, once again, with the unification, because nobody likes looking at litter.
No, you're
Nobody
right.
likes looking at it.
On the way, we're in Atlanta, the city. I'm on the way here. I'm looking at litter now differently. Yeah.
Like,
I'm looking like, damn, that's bread.
And you know, even for the people that don't care about the environment, because not everybody does, well, isn't it pretty cool that you could run a truck a diesel truck off of that litter,
You're right.
that's pretty cool to me.
You're right.
I mean, even if you don't care about the environment, when you go to the beach, you want the shores to be clean of plastic.
You're right.
Isn't it pretty cool that once this technology is really implemented everywhere and there's an incentive to clean up all this stuff, you won't even see cigarette butts anymore because all that is literally fuel, and people will get mad at you for just throwing it on the ground because they're like, dude,
I think it's the media connecting, turning plastic to gas and saving these damn creatures and saving just our world in general.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think media, connecting you with media in that sphere,
For sure.
that's a huge ecosystem.
And that's actually a huge part of my next push, you know, with raising money to build this next machine. A lot of that money will go into marketing because people need to. Yeah, people. We need the people behind this to change the world. You're not going to change the world alone. And
You're right.
a lot of people don't even know plastic is made of petroleum. But they also need to do exactly what you said. See the correlation, the connection. It was a natural correlation to me from the beginning. When I saw the process, I knew this is it. This is going to change the world. This correlates with nature, everything.
That's what Tesla, that's what Elon has done with the electric battery. He's tapped into the he's the zero carbon boy. You get what I'm saying? That's given him the bag. Because you can think about it. Yeah, his company does fluctuate depending on the social value of it, but he's got different companies and he's got different things he's tapping into off of the aspect and the backbone of saving nature and using sustainable energy and certain things like that. So I think like you're just at the tip of the iceberg. Yep. You might next month be like, damn, I'm about to tap into but you get what I'm saying? That path that you're on, it can only be dope. It can only be dope.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's why I wanted to catch you at your root, like, bruh. Yeah. This guy is going, like, you know, when you need media, anything as far as like just to talk about it, that's what I'm here for. You see what I'm saying? Like, we all need each other. The same way I need you to get this plastic thing situated so you can create ecosystems and all of that. You need the right media and the right people around you that can guide your mind and keep you well grounded and can bring that magnetic people and bring that different trajectory of currency towards you so you can focus directly on what you need to focus on. Because as an inventor, that's what I talk about, the Tony Stark. He had the bag. He ain't had to go find it. Right. He had the bag. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yep. So it's like, we're like a blockchain of the bag for you now. Like everybody's going to have to play their part to be able to come together to create a new ecosystem to where you can utilize your technology. That's why I'm like, you might find a group of farmers that just, you know, they have a group farm and they might just want to tap into the technology. Yep. You know what I mean? That's a whole new business, like, venture. It might not be the most, how do you say, evil-minded business. You know, when you get money, the more money you get, the more evil it starts to seem, right? But these different ventures that you can create at a young age and already capsulize them so that the different people that know what's going on, it's not them coming in to create new vehicles. It's just jump in. Yeah, absolutely. You see what I'm saying? And that's using money as a tool to tap into so many different things. And I do have the respect for money from that aspect. You know, it's not money that's the root of all evil. It's the love of money. It's the love of it. It's the love of money. And that's why when you ask me, like, do you focus on the bag? No, because I don't love money. You know what I'm saying? Talk about it. I love nature. And what is nature? The root of money. Nature's money made from trees. So I'm loving something that's permanent and it's always going to be there. So what is nature? That's abundance. You plant one seed from a tree, it's making apples, and every single apple has like 100 seeds, right? You live life off of that principle, you're never going to be in a state of greed or need or desperation because you know it's just a matter of time. When that tree grows and when that tree fruits, it could be a mature tree, but it only fruits once a year. And when it does, it's always going to be a harvest. And that's all I'm waiting for now, just the harvest. You know, I think last year was your year of planting that seed, and this is the year of harvesting. This media capsule that we're creating is the root sprouting up to open for you to see, for the world to see you in the best light they can and they can tap into your mindset. I know we're gonna talk more, and we're gonna, you know, tap in more as far as when you keep growing and getting into your Iron Man suit and putting the AI inside the suit, all of that stuff. It's coming, Julian.
The implications of AI technology like that tie into this perfectly, you know?
So I see like utilizing this AI could be a resourceful, it's like having 12 to 13 different co-scientists and researchers, and
Right.
you could program them like individually to think how you would need them to think.
Right.
And in being able to utilize that to speed your process up, because there's no AI, there's no Iron Man without Jarvis.
True.
As natural as nature is, Jarvis is not, that's biochemistry and it's a learning machine.
Right.
What are we different from a learning machine?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to with the AI side of things, we talk about it can speed it up so much, and that's important. Being able to speed it up without rushing. You know, when you rush, that's when you mess up. But there's a difference between rushing and moving efficiently. Right? Every step is getting closer and closer, but it also is a powerful step that builds stuff, because this technology needs to get out there ASAP, because plastic waste is not slowing down. It's only going up.
Right. It's only going up.
So my timeline, I want this to be an international technology. I want this to be $1 billion industry in 10 years from now. 2033, this is going to be in every country on earth.
Closing words, just give it to your folks, give it to your people.
Yeah. Always believe in yourself and have faith in yourself and have a strong foundation in everything you do. That's the key. Your foundation is set right, and everything else will flow around you. And no matter what happens outside of you, no matter what the storm is, you'll always be set. And that's a period.
So we'll leave you right there, man. You know what I mean? It was a pleasure meeting you. We'll definitely have some more of this going on. I want to get in the mix and see what the actual reactor does with my whole spacesuit on. But we'll get there. But Julian, bruh, it's a pleasure.
Yeah.